Hey there, welcome to my studio. I'm Daniel Norton, photographer here in New York, and this week I'm going to pose a little bit of a question. Why do you photograph the things that you photograph? So if you're interested in answering questions like this and knowing about gear and philosophy of photography, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, but let's talk about this, right? If you could pause the video and write a comment right now if you want, but why do you photograph things? What do you photograph? Let's get that in the comments. What does everybody photograph? What is the thing that you go to? And I've talked about this before in videos. If you're about to write everything, think about when somebody asks you what kind of photographer you are, what would you want to be? What would you like people to call you? What would you like them to say? Bob is a, fashion photographer. Jane is a portrait photographer. What do you want to be called, right? What is it? And now let's think about why that is. Why is it that you want to make portraits, let's say? I'm a portrait photographer. I consider myself a portrait photographer. I shot fashion for a long time. I don't shoot fashion as much. Although they say fashion photographers never retire. Like it's like being a Marine, right? You're always a Marine. Anyways, that's as a quick side note. Why do I photograph portraits? Because I like to interact with people. I like to get something from people that they keep oftentimes to themselves, right? I like to get this like kind of deep connection with somebody that I find is great to get in a conversation, but I like to bring it out in a photo. And to me, that's really important. I like that. After working many, many years in fashion, where basically it's kind of surface level, beauty, funky, the image is telling a story. The image is making a point. The image is saying something about society, but not necessarily something about that particular person. In fact, the best fashion models I ever worked with are like actors, basically, right? They're like a slate. They can be anything. They can, if the image is about a certain vibe or a certain look, they can emulate that. They can become that. They can embody it. Whereas a portrait is more about who is the person. And I think the closest commercial thing you get to this, really, besides obviously just doing portraits, is a headshot by an actor. But even then, actors want to be the person they want to be, right? They want to be seen as a certain thing. Not like, oh, I'm going to dress up like a nurse, but, maybe they're funny, maybe they're serious, whatever. So that's a little bit not exactly it. A true portrait to me is when somebody actually expresses themselves in a way that they wouldn't necessarily express themselves to people that aren't close to them. There's a bit of vulnerability in it, and you have to be, as a portrait photographer, I think, vulnerable too, to connect with these people and be honest yourself in order for them to be honest with you. And that draws me into shooting portraits. It draws me into shooting portraits of actors, models, real people, musicians, whoever. When you get somebody who's lived a little bit, who's got something that they've gone through that maybe they don't even really realize it, they can let that out in an image. That is very powerful to me. So that's what I try to do as a portrait photographer. What kind of work do you guys do? Why do you do it? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring the bell to get the notifications, and I'll see you next time.